All right. Once again, it's time for Off the Top Sportscast. I'm John, and that is Roy, and we're coming to you with another fun episode. Roy, we're just going to talk some sports topics today. What do you think? And I don't really want to talk about him, but I know that he's a topic. The Draymond Green of it all.
Draymond Green. Draymond Green. I think this is someone who thinks he's above the NBA and forgets that he is a role player, not a star.
Yes.
I've watched the film or watched the videos a couple of times to see. Now they only show the video. I should go back and watch the game because I want to see was he getting harassed? Was he getting elbowed? Was he getting jabbed? At least for that play, the guy was barely even on him. And how do you know that? How much this guy swung and turned around.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then who was it? Was it Rudy Gobert that he put in this headlock? That was unnecessary. I think that the league suspending indefinitely, you know what I mean? I think that's a little hard. You know what I mean? Yes, it was a swing. Yes, I think it would be better served to say, you're out this year, you're out next year, and you must do X, Y, Z. And some of it must be stinking anger management. Because we need to show just kicking him out, that doesn't solve a problem. The guy's going to get on his podcast. He's going to get on some network and be an analyst and talk all his junk. No, make him say, hey, there's a certain decorum and appreciation for the millions you're making.
Right.
John Moran is coming back. I would love John Moran to come back. I think he's a young guy. But again, maybe a little too soon. Maybe a little too soon. What's the purpose of him coming? Keep him out for the year. Make him work on his own. So I think they did a little too much, but I do think it was unnecessary to boot him out of the league, for at least now.
Yeah, the more and more I think about it, just Draymond in general, I'm concerned that people think he's a Hall of Famer. I do not see him that way. That's just me. Everybody keeps on saying he's Dennis Rodman. No.
No.
You know who he is? I was thinking about this the other day. He's Charles Oakley.
Good one.
That
I like him. Yep. Good player. Was a great player with the Knicks. But when
defensive guy.
When he leaves, what do you say? When he left Chicago, what do you say? Okay.
Yeah. Defensive guy, hard-nosed guy, was there as an enforcer. He'd grab rebounds. Wasn't great at grabbing rebounds, but he was in there grabbing rebounds, making it at least tough for the other team to grab rebounds. Put up a couple points, but you weren't thinking that he was going to beat you. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't say Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason was more of a scorer. That's who Draymond is. I don't get it. It's almost to whatever for me now. I'm like, I don't know what he's trying to do. I think it's dismissive of people with real mental illness for everybody to start saying, well, he's got this mental. He's just a jerk and he's just a douche. And he thinks that this is his role. This is the only thing he can contribute to that team. He can't contribute in points. He can't contribute in leadership anymore. He lost that. So he's just contributing in, I'm going to be the enforcer.
So let's play both scenarios. He has a problem.
Okay.
He has a condition. Right? So don't you think he should get that resolved? Don't you think that condition at this moment has escalated to the point that maybe he needs some help?
This is what I say to that. Let's just play the scenario that he has a condition. That is not for the NBA to determine nor to dictate that he goes and gets counseling. Why am I now in charge of making you a better person? That's not my job.
You're right. It's not your job, but the purpose is always is making a statement for
Yeah,
any other player. So yeah, you can, again, I always say, yes, you can just suspend him. But I'm saying if he legitimately has an issue, my thing is the NBA will say, you are suspended until you can prove that this condition or whatever you have, this swinging, arbitrary swinging, that the tick that you have to
hmm,
swing is somewhat under control. But if
yeah.
not, I'm watching the swing right now. There's nothing. Yeah, maybe the guy holding him a little bit. This is basketball. This
It
is
wasn't egregious.
no.
It Nothing that guy did was as bad as what Draymond has done to other guys in the past.
You're right.
And let's just put it in perspective because in my last comment I said this and I was correct. John didn't hurt anybody except for himself potentially.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, and the reputation, I guess, if you want to say it like that, of the NBA. Draymond is literally hurting people and the reputation of the NBA, both.
It's pretty remarkable that they let it go this far. And I'm really thinking they're really telling people he went this far, nobody else will get this far. Draymond,
Yeah.
I firmly believe he will not play again in the NBA.
Ooh, interesting. All right, Roy. I heard something the other was so good that I had to bring it to you, and it was from Ryan Clark on the Pivot. Okay, he said something that actually changes the way you think about the greatest of all time conversation, right? So instead of thinking about who's the greatest of all time, he stated that he thought that LeBron had the greatest career of all time. So now, if I told you I'm framing it, greatest career of all time, does that change what you think? Does that change the who you think of?
I think for a lot of people it changed that because I would say he is correct. LeBron had the greatest career. You talk about the teams that he played in, what he's done, and the championships that he's won with the teams. Yeah, I would say he's had the best career and is still playing longevity with the same type of consistency. I would say, yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting because when you start thinking about now career, you go, okay, Jordan did not become the highest scorer of all time. That was LeBron. He probably, by the time he retires, he'll probably have the most assists of all time. You know what I mean? He's gonna have a whole bunch of records when he retires. Not gonna have the championships probably that Jordan had. Won't have the championships that Bill Russell had. Because if you're not thinking career wise, you got to go you got to broaden that out. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting way to frame that comment that it might change the mind of people, or at the very least, make you look at it coming from a different direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the conversation, who's the greatest, is always going to be. I think you're not going to get around that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have debates. People may throw in other people in there. But career wise, I think no one can say LeBron didn't have the best career.
It's hard to say that. It's hard because of his longevity. Like I said, all he's got all the hardware. You know, recently LeBron won the Lakers won the in-season tournament, the first ever, and he won the MVP. The backlash that a lot of people got was that they celebrated. They popped champagne. Now, what do you think about celebrating the way they did the in-season tournament?
I think they won $500,000.
That's right.
Right? Yes, I'm celebrating. Think about, these guys make millions, but still, you won $500,000. You also won an in-season tournament, a tournament that you probably would have thought, well, I don't know if we're going to win. I don't even know if we're going to win the finals. But this does a lot for your ego. This does a lot for your team, for your fan base. To win the first one is a lot. And they do this with soccer. It's a big test. Hey, if we win the in-season tournament, is very, very good that we will be good enough to be in contention for the regular season. So come on. Yes, they should celebrate. It was an achievement. I think, will they make the finals? It's very likely they could. And if they do that, wow, that's something else. But again, celebrating, yeah, celebrate. It's worth it.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I felt like it was just a lot of LeBron hate. Listen, this team has a lot of new pieces this year. They had a lot of guys that overachieved last year that there was a lot of question marks what they would do this year. And they won something. Of course you're going to celebrate. If the Pacers had won and Halliburton would have won the MVP, they would have celebrated and they would have been right to do so. Just because it's LeBron, and I guess some of the argument is, Jordan wouldn't have celebrated. There's nobody with a bigger ego than Michael Jordan. So he wanted to win everything. They celebrated regular season games when he would whip people up. You would see him pumping his fist and on the sidelines. So I just didn't understand what the even question was.
And really, when you look at the Laker team, I'm looking at the roster now, because I was like, I know two people. Yeah, I know D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, okay. But who is their next stud?
Right.
Third stud. Nobody.
Austin Reeves right now.
Austin Reeves, yeah, but he's a young player. He just signed the contract. Austin Reeves. That's their number 3 stud? Really? They got nobody else on this team. So doing that, I say, man, that's pretty remarkable.
Hey, and he's now the answer to the trivia question. Who won the first in-season tournament? Who won the first in-season MVP? He's the answer to the trivia. So yeah. I say you celebrate any chance you get, baby. Dance. All right.
Well, John, I think we talked about a lot of stuff. As always, we always have one ending, and that is we appreciate everyone's comments. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Just follow us. We're trying to get to the big 2-5. Subscribe, like, hit the button, but more than anything, comment. Tell us how you feel. Tell you what you think.
Absolutely.
Tell us if you think we're full of it, and we'll not disagree, but tell us what you think. Again, but always, when it comes to sports, John, we say one thing.
Talk to a stranger about sports today.